If you take a bottle of clear tonic water and hold it under a UV black light, something strange happens. It doesn't stay clear. It glows, a bright radioactive blue. It looks like science fiction, but that blue glow is actually a ghost from the past. It comes from a chemical called quinine. Today, we know tonic water as a fizzy, slightly bitter mixer for your gin. But originally, it wasn't a drink you enjoyed at a bar. It was a life-saving medicine that helped build empires, and it tasted absolutely awful. So how did a tree bark from the Andes Mountains end up in your glass, and why does it glow? Today, we're looking at the surprising history of tonic water, right here in Simple Things Surprising Histories. Our story begins not in a British bar, but in the dense rainforests of Peru back in the 17th century. Indigenous peoples there knew about a specific tree, the Cinchona tree, whose bark could treat fevers. When Spanish missionaries arrived, they discovered that this ground-up bark was the only effective cure for malaria, a disease that was killing millions across the world. They called it Jesuit's bark, or the fever tree. The active ingredient in that bark is quinine. It was a miracle cure, but it had one major problem. Pure quinine is unbelievably bitter. In fact, it's one of the most bitter substances known to man. For centuries, if you had malaria, you had to choke down this dry, bitter powder. But by the 1800s, the British Empire had a plan to make the medicine go down a little easier. In the early 19th century, thousands of British officials and soldiers were stationed in India, where malaria was a constant threat. They were required to take a daily dose of quinine powder to stay alive. To mask that terrible bitterness, they started dissolving the powder in water and adding sugar and lime. But it was still bitter, so the soldiers added their daily ration of alcohol, specifically gin. And just like that, the gin and tonic was born. It wasn't invented to be a cocktail, it was a medical necessity. The first commercial tonic water was patented in London in 1858 by a man named Erasmus Bond. It was sold as a health tonic, literally water that tones the body. Back then, tonic water was highly potent, but the stuff you buy in the supermarket today, that is a very different drink. Modern tonic water is more of a soft drink than a medicine. Historically, tonic was loaded with quinine. Today, strict regulations limit the quinine content to just a trace amount, about 83 milligrams per liter in the US. That is nowhere near enough to cure malaria. In fact, today's tonic water often contains as much sugar as a cola to balance out the bitterness. But one thing hasn't changed, that blue glow. Even the tiny trace of quinine left in modern bottles is fluorescent. When UV light hits the quinine molecules, they absorb the energy and release it as blue light. It's a small, glowing reminder of its medicinal past. So, the next time you hear the fizz of a tonic water, remember, you're not just looking at a mixer, you're looking at the fever tree, a soldier's ration, and a glowing scientific curiosity all in one glass. I hope you enjoyed this slice of history. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe to Simple Things for more surprising histories behind everyday objects. Thanks for watching.